I don't have time for all of the fancy gear setup as yet again I am packed and should have already left this Airbnb 24 minutes ago, but my check-in to the next Airbnb isn't for several hours, so charging up things like my laptop and power bank and the other such things. And in the meantime, let me just share with you not just the view of this Airbnb, but also some things that I am going through and growing through, as it's funner to say. But there is a lot that is on my mind because while dating is a prerogative, it's not the prerogative. There's so much more to life, of course. Business, health, mental state, how you feel about yourself is of the highest ordinance and importance. And so I'm trying to use this dating metric and milestones as a means of bettering myself, as a means of like just using my biological drive to point me in the direction of growth and the direction of evolving. And that's something that when you're starving for financial stability and trying to keep your head above the water and the kind of knocking on the door or on your bank account of trying to get your finances in order, it definitely hampers the vision of like working on those endeavors because you're just trying to survive. And for example, the past few days or the past week, I've been waiting for information about what is happening with my millions of dollars that I have in this one investment platform. And they're just stalling, saying another 2 weeks until maybe the first withdrawals come through, and there's of course so many of us that are in the same boat waiting for that. So that's leaving me to fend for myself to create new income. And it's just like when you think that you're in a certain level and you can focus on certain things like your health and like dating and like traveling, and then you're going back to like delivering pizzas or something like that, and it's like, it's a tough pill to swallow, especially when it is something that happened out of your control. And I know that one should take maximum accountability of saying everything is my fault, and to that helpful degree of changing things, it is helpful to say everything is my fault. But on mornings like this, it just hits me so hard of like where I was in the Burj Khalifa, withdrawing $15,000 a week to fund my life and do a lot of helping out my relatives and stuff. Like last night, my mom sent me a voice note from Mecca in Saudi Arabia, as I'll be going there to do the pilgrimage of Hajj as well. She said, "Can you bring some extra cash with you, because I may want to get some things from here, and so will your aunties." And here I am, like trying to figure out my finances, booking an Airbnb every 2-3 days at a time, so I don't cross into negative bank balance, and every 2-3 days trying to find solutions to get through the next few days. But it definitely is an exciting time, and I know I'm going to get through this, and I know it's like one way or another, whether I get the capital or not, I do have the reliance on myself to get myself through this. There's been many restarts, great restarts of my life, and I'm not afraid of this one. It's just inconvenient and like, gotta do this again, that kind of drudgery. But maybe there's a lot of lessons to learn from here, and that I will take to reshape and recharacterize myself mentally and financially, and then thus with the adventures of dating and traveling. And there are people that kind of make it to some level, drop back down to like zero, and then eventually they skyrocket 10 100x to where they were. So that's possible. In regards to my romantic affairs of the week, went out on a date with the regular Dubai girl, and like she always wanted me to wear shirts because I wear like just comfortable clothes, and so I wore a white t-shirt, and she was just very impressed by that. She's like, "You clean up nice and whatnot." I was like, "Yeah, it's in there. I just she doesn't know what I'm going through financially." So, in my head, I'm just like, how do I figure out the business side of things and not worried about like looking my sharpest, which definitely can help mentally. Self-care is a huge part that I need to delve into in this adventure, because it is something that I've neglected for way too long. And I don't want it to be a forever thing that I never actually delve into taking care of my skin, taking care of my nutrition, my workouts, my sleep, all those factors that are both for me and my future dating adventures. There's a lot of financial things that are on my mind that it's hard for me to swipe and set up dates right now, because if I had the kind of finances that I no longer have access to my own money, then I could do wild things of like going to Tanzania for a date, going to Canada, New York, just a combination of living life, having adventures, meeting interesting people, interesting conversations, which, by the way, I realize that one of the things that I enjoy the most about a girl is exploring and delving into deep conversations about very interesting topics. Like, I asked this one girl, I was telling her that if I could come back as like reincarnated, I'd want to come back as like an Asian. Yes, Bangladeshis are Asians, but I mean like Japanese or South Korean or Chinese, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, or just one of those cultures that are very family oriented, very culture oriented, like a Buddhist or something, just like a totally different life of values and things. And or like be a punk kid in Tokyo. That would be wild, like a Ghost in the Shell kind of reality. But so I asked her this question. I was like, what would you want to be reincarnated as? She's like, I never thought about this question. And that was it. And I was like, oh. It reminded me of the quote of, when you want to dive into the ocean of their mind and you're standing there realizing it's just a puddle. And that's how I felt. And I was just like, I need more interesting people to converse with, because what I also realize is that beauty you can buy, whether it's in the clubs, whether it's a service, whether it's cosmetics, whether it's surgery. When beauty is something that is accessible, whether it's to females or males. Intelligence and intellectual conversation, connecting on a level of like humanity and like creativity, ingenuity, imagination, all of that stuff, and where it's like, wow, it's really engaging talking to you, and I never thought about it like that. That sort of conversation ignites just the wanting to be with that person because they're interesting, not because they just have a draw of lust. And so I of course want to make myself more interesting, and of course meet more interesting individuals. By the way, right after this, I'm going, because I do have some hours before my next Airbnb, I'm going to the head office of another company that I've kind of stumbled across, and got a chance to go to the headquarters yesterday, do an interview with the co-founder. So starting to build that fintech company as like one of their global outreach to bring them clients. So yeah, that can be an avenue of restabilizing myself financially. At least gives me something to do other than lament. And of course, as a man, it's very important to build something, whether it's a business, whether it's a family, whether it's yourself. And that's kind of what I'm wanting to do. I think the aggregate of all of those things to me can be measured by my dating experiences, whether it's the quality, whether it's the location, whether it's the type of adventure. You know, so it's like right now I'm having Chinese takeout kind of ramen noodles or you know, chow mein kind of dating experiences, and I can have the filet mignon and the nice fancy white table or white cloth white glove experience as I scale up. I mean, can you imagine a date on a private jet to a wonderful destination where you continue that date or have some more adventures? So yeah, like those kind of things are possible, especially before oh, by the way, Apple released their Vision Pro VR system, and I was just like, this is gonna fuck up the whole world. Because now you can be in Dubai sitting in like you know, nowhere, in like a dark room, dark dingy room in like the suburbs or any remote country, and you can tour the world kind of by letting your body go to waste or your mind kind of be in this virtual reality, which it will get worse before it gets better, until like there's actually our biology can be also accommodated for this sort of state that it's not accustomed to. So whether it's dating in the virtual space, whether it's living in the virtual space, working in the virtual space, or whatever, and this is just version 1. What happens on version 5 or 7 or 10? Just like iPhone 15 is coming out this year. So before all of that craziness really delves into mainstream, I want to have as much real adventure, as much real interactions, and the human warmth and the laying next to a physical person kind of thing, as opposed to in the future it being like a like a humanoid that can produce body warmth or something. It'll be called Cuddle Buddy on the low, because it'll be on a discount. But yeah, so a lot of interesting things are happening. By interesting, I mean challenging things in my life. You know, the way that I got through this week is because the girl in New York that I have an open relationship with, and I don't even know how to get out of an open relationship or what one does to that. I guess you would get into a committed relationship, but that's in the scope of the open relationship. I mean, because if you get into a committed relationship with someone else while you're in a open relationship with another person, does that violate the terms of the open relationship, which can tolerate the committed relationship? That's wild. It's like Buddhism. I mean, it's like Hinduism, where you can practice other religions, so you don't have to disavow Hinduism to practice another religion. So are you always a Buddhist? I mean, are you always a Hinduist? Hindu? So yeah, interesting. But yeah, that girl, we've been talking a lot about like her finances and me helping her to grow out of it, because for the most part, have made it financially. Just right now, it's a state of uncertainty. But yeah, she wanted some help there, so I was like, I'll just handle some of your finances. You can send it over to me, and I'll do the things that I have the capacity to do, and make profits for both of us, and send you your cut, and whenever you want your principal. So that's how she's beginning to put some funds with me, and that's how I'm also kind of keeping my head above water, as her greatest investment there is in me. And of course, I can 10, 100x that number. I just need to stabilize myself. So it's very beautiful that someone I'm in an open relationship with that is also considering being in an open marriage with me, and she's proposing that, is helping me out in ways that she doesn't even know. But I assure you it will come back to her in multiple folds, not just financially, but in my gratitude and appreciation for what she's unknowingly doing for me, and saving me from, as I figure out where I am with my finances, and how to rebuild myself. So it is a lot of the juggling between this resource and that resource and so much else. And I'm just trying to get on solid ground. I do feel like I'm on quicksand, and when you're kind of sinking in quicksand, you're not thinking it with your smaller head, let's just say, and trying to set up romantic dates and adventures. You're trying to survive, and that is kind of where I am. Yeah, so let's go and do work. That is another very important thing, is that me being hyper productive solves everything. It solves the mental glum of like where am I, and having to do the stuff that or it gets me out of my drudgery, and also solves problems financially. It gets life moving, and that is what I aim to do from as much hours of the day as possible. In fact, I almost left Dubai today. Yesterday I was texting my secretary in India, Pepper. I was like, hey, what are some flight options from Dubai to Dhaka for today? But thankfully I had that meeting with the co-founder and the view of the headquarters, and was able to ask, hey, can I come and work here, make my content and broadcast to clients around the world? And he was very open to it. In fact, I need to head over there right now. And that's what made me stay here, because I know if I go back to my comfort zone in Dhaka with my kittens, and just where I control so much, where life is not as moving, I will fall into a slump. And so I didn't want to do that. So let's keep moving right now to the office, then to the next Airbnb. I hope this turns into something that I can look back and say, I picked myself up from a difficult situation to be as high as $4 million, and then back down to nothing, or even negative. Because actually, before the girl that I'm in an open relationship with sent over the funds, my bank account was negative. Like, it turned negative that day, and that day she sent over funds and it turned to positive. And I was just like, living life on the edge. And it's exciting. It's exciting to actually be on these adventures. I've bounced back so many times that it's not anything new. It's just like, oh, okay, like this again. Okay, I've been through it. But Adventures of a Lifetime continues. I'll keep you posted on. Oh, by the way, one other very important thing: the girl that I went out on a date with, the date within a date. Of course, now I'm back in Dubai, but even before I was back in Dubai, when I went to Bangladesh, I wrote her on an index card a very poetic message of like, hey, hi, her name. I was thinking about you today, and just wanted, and I think you're something. I think you have a very beautiful mind, and something about like that being rare, or about protecting it, and that she's special. Like I realized that she is special, so I sent that over, and a few hours later she says something about like, oh, thanks for writing that cute letter, but she said thank you, and I was just like, "Eesh, yeah, that is not a good sign of like, you know." And she didn't say anything back about like how she feels for me, I guess because she doesn't. But that was one of the more higher quality dates that I've gone on recently, or in years. And today, yesterday, while standing out there, the day before yesterday, while standing out there, because I had returned back to Dubai, I wrote on another index card of another note to her of, what did I say? Oh, right. That like, in a world of lust, I'm looking for love, and was reminded of her. And I was hoping that by the background she could see that I'm in Dubai. No response. So I kind of got the message after the first one where she kind of said thank you, but this definitely solidifies. It's been like 48 hours almost. So anyway, not that I don't even know what I wanted there in terms of like, if she wanted to be serious, how ready was I to be serious? As I'm going through so much. But I do want someone to build with, someone that can say, hey, like, I see a lot of potential in you, and I can say, I see a lot of potential in you. And then we're there for each other through thick and thin, through negative bank balances to millions of dollars. So those are just some of the adventures of what's going on. And I feel lighter having shared this with whoever. By the way, I have like I've gotten a recent subscriber on this channel, which I was like, who the fuck is watching this? Because this is mostly for my journaling, but if it entertains or intrigues you, yeah, sure. If you want to be more than a stalker and you do want to message me, you can hit me up on Instagram at 300dates, and we can talk about stuff. I guess that's what strangers online do. But yeah, or if you want to go on a date, I guess we can arrange that too. That would be wild. That would be wild. Like a girl that sees that I'm on a journey of 300 dates, and she's like, hey, I want to be one of those dates. I was like, okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting. But I got to make my life interesting. And I realize day by day how little so many other distractions mean versus making yourself as a man valuable, financially, physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually. All those elements of making yourself the biggest investment in your life, not a business. As $4 million in a investment platform may go, into thin air, but $4 million into me physically, intellectually, connection wise, life experiences, seeing more of the world and more of the people of the world. That would have stuck with me and made me even more like, if I ever hit rock bottom, then it just not a problem to skyrocket because of how much I invested in myself, into my connections, into my skills. So a lot of these lessons being learned with a hefty price, but nevertheless being learned for a even more exciting future ahead, which I'm gonna get started on right now by heading out of this Airbnb and on to the next adventure.